Hey everybody, it's Ken VHS. Welcome back to another episode of our Medieval Total War Spanish campaign, where we are attempting to unravel the mechanics involving inheritance. So far, without success at actually inheriting, though we are developing towards potentially a few principles. Unfortunately, there seems to be a certain amount of unpredictability here. We currently are in a bit of a holding pattern because all of our princes and our king are married. So we need to wait until Fernando comes of age, and that'll be just a little while, I guess about 8 or 9 years. And then we'll have a free guy who can, accept offers. What we're going for right now is the theory that the AI needs to offer to you the princess. Whereas if you request the princess, you do not inherit. Now, that is an apparently necessary but insufficient criteria for inheritance, because we have encountered situations in the playthrough here and in my own experience elsewhere that I've talked about in the earlier episodes, whereby even if the princess approaches you and you wipe out her family, making sure that the king who offered her to you is the last one in that line, even in those circumstances, you don't always inherit. I've had that happen where I inherited exactly once through those methods, but I can't repeat it yet. So that's what we're trying to do. And in order to do that, the principle in general is to avoid alliances and keep a small profile. I think that makes you more attractive to the AI as an ally, and therefore they may be more willing to send you princesses. So, we've had pretty decent luck, actually, at getting princess offers. So while you can't, force it to happen, right, there's nothing you can do directly, I think that if you just sit tight and stay small, you have pretty decent odds of making that happen. So let's just go with a couple more buildings here. We've maxed out our economy pretty much in Cordoba. So that's 4,000 income. That's what a maxed out Cordoba looks like when it's connected with trade routes and the farms are all built up and stuff. So that's very nice. This is our primary assassin training ground, but Valencia is just as good with the +3 assassins. And so I don't know that I really feel like doing anything else. Royal Palace, that could get me emissaries if I absolutely need them. Sure. Leon, let's go with... We just got cardinals here. So let's get a bunch of them. I'm not sure if they are any better than bishops. The idea is that theoretically they're supposed to be, improved bishops who will, convert things better perhaps, but I'm not totally sure that that is true. Let's get some more armor here because, we are going to want to train troops at some point. We want to train just enough troops to keep the Egyptians from attacking us because that would be annoying. So let's go with, let's go with 5 more of these. They're only 52 upkeep, and currently we're making almost 10,000 a turn. So that's very nice. Really enjoying the pace of medieval Total Wars campaigns compared to some other games. Let's just put it that way. Like, I'm also playing some Shogun 2, and my gosh, it is absolutely breakneck. You can just not sit like this in Shogun 2, and that's that's great. That means that it's a very active, intense game, but sometimes it's too much. We killed 63,000 people in Castile. Is that right? It's ridiculous. All right, so we get another daughter. I'm sort of past the point of caring about tracking daughters, so we're not going to worry about that. And I'm not even too worried about building upgrades at this point. We're kind of keeping Navarre low intentionally because it's better for mercenaries. The more of a higher castle you build in a place with an inn, the less likely you are to see mercenaries there. So we've gotten some good ones over the years. I'll just keep it like this. I'm not, not too concerned. Although Egypt is up in Aquitaine, which is interesting. And what we could do is we could encourage the emergence of the English, because they're currently eliminated. If you check, this is the easiest place to check what factions are still around. There's a lot of factions that are gone. Now, a great deal of that is our doing. The English are eliminated. The Italians, actually, I don't think we wiped out the Hungarians. Did we? We may have. The Danish are gone. That's not us. That was the French. But we can kind of get in here and encourage some problems. Let's see. We could like obviously this is going to be very, very Catholic, but we've got a couple inquisitors here. Why do we have assassins in Toulouse? Let's get them over here. Because I wouldn't mind, you know, a little bit of covert operations against the Egyptians. And let's actually cancel these. Actually, no, we'll do that. We'll bring you, and we'll just do that. We lose the progress on the ship, but I think maybe it's more important to have spies out of here. We don't have too many. And we don't even have +1 Valor spies, do we? That's kind of too bad. Next turn, we'll be able to start on that, so maybe I'll just wait. And yeah, we'll get 1. Okay, I think that's fine. If we get really worried about a faction like the French, we could wipe them out again. I mean, that's the thing, is that when you get a lot of assassins, interesting. So there's massive wars raging now between the Egyptians and the French, right? The French are sending crusades. This must be really epic for them. I'm just sitting here, like, doing nothing, but also unconcerned. Ooh, that could be interesting in a few years if there's continued unrest in Switzerland. 63,000 people, oh my gosh. Alright, gunpowder. Again, we're not really playing this campaign, so that's maybe not much of a concern. Alright, but now we do have to worry about this. See that? We took our spy out. We could take out the Sultan potentially. Brittany, what's that? Alright, 143. These are 2 4-star assassins. Like 24%, that's decent odds. I'm not too interested in doing that. I think this is probably better actually because he's trapped. When you have your king sort of isolated from the rest of your realm, you see lots of rebellions. That's why I think we're seeing this. Very low taxes, 33% loyalty, 94. So this is a big problem for them. 50, yeah. So I'm not really worried about Egypt. So I'm not gonna invest. I'm more worried about the French becoming a major power. But if we can encourage some reemergences in the middle of their territory, things could really change quickly. Alright, our Spanish king is dead, so let's see who we've got. Nice. So our bishop is in there. This is a Christian rebellion. That's really interesting. And the Sicilians come back. Awesome. Wow. This is such a weird campaign map. I mean, it's not weird. It's you know, I just don't often see the Egyptians and the French at war in the central Mediterranean. So this is bad. They want one of my princesses. What's interesting about this is they're requesting our princess marry into them, and the language here suggests, oh, that there's going to be an alliance or a ceasefire. That I don't think is the case. I know for sure if I asked for their princess and they agreed, we would not be allied. That does not give an alliance, and it probably doesn't work the other way too. So let's just say no, because I don't really, even if, you know, I don't want to ally with the French, right? Like, I want to keep them guessing. And I'm not sure that that's how that works, but I think it's how it works. All right, we do need a spy here, I guess. Let's go with spies. And Cordoba, yeah, let's make more assassins. You never know. We can get bombards, we can get gunners. Not really. I guess we could get titles, right? This is an easy build. It's not going to, you know, encourage us to recruit anything that takes us away from getting more assassins if we need them in a hurry. And I think the ships are good. Okay. The Golden Horde, you know, as always, comes on pretty strong, but they've not managed to wipe out the people of Novgorod. They may. But actually they're allied with them, so they're going to let them live. And that might be good for the Horde, because typically they get into trouble, you know, a few decades in, which would be now. They've been out for about 30 years. So they're allied with the Egyptians, and the Egyptians are suffering rebellion problems. So it's interesting. We've got the papacy over here. The Polish are doing very well in the middle here, because they're also... Are they allied with the Horde? Yeah. So really, really interesting stuff. And they're not at war with anybody, as a matter of fact. All right. Oh, I forgot to check out my new king. So this is... this would be Sancho, right? Oh, wow. All right, so that rebellion worked. And unrest in Tripoli. Nice. Got a daughter. That's too bad. Okay. Yeah, Fernando is still the only prince. And in fact, all of the other brothers and you know, now their uncles are not on the heir list anymore. So Sancho is the king, and his little brother Fernando is about to come of age in a couple of years. So let's check. Yeah, this is not great. But he is 29, so we've got lots of time for him to have kids. He's married to an Italian princess when the Italians were still around. And so, let's see. Yeah, so these guys, where are the other princes? Just checking loyalty, too. Okay, yeah, so notice how it still has a little crown here. These two guys were princes, right? So this is Felipe and this is Alfonso. And they're princes, they're married. So, interesting. The game tracks all of that stuff. This guy was married to an Hungarian, I think? No, English. No, Italian. And this guy, Alfonso, was married... Yeah, Alfonso was married to an Italian. Felipe to an English woman. Okay. Enrique II, the guy who just died, their older brother, was married to a Hungarian, and Sancho, the current king, to an Italian. So we'll just kind of keep them all together there. He is... Right, he was not too loyal, so that was part of the problem. But these guys are actually looking fine, so maybe I'll move him back here. Okay, yeah, everything's good. This is a little bit touchy, so we'll just keep an eye on it. And here, what we want to do, let's go with Metalsmith for even better attack. Alright, we'll keep that there. This does not look like we're going to be able to do anything with it. And, you know, we don't have a good enough spy. We've got a 1-star spy. But, you know, they just bring in some troops. Yeah, that's kind of all they need to do. This urban militia town watch building is helping them. Maybe they have a spy in there, but I kind of doubt it. Oh, they're not going to be there for long. Look, the French are clearly trying a conversion strategy. Look at all those bishops. Okay. Unbribable. Well, someone is trying to bribe somebody, but it's not working for them, so good. Okay, let's get all of you guys under the king. No, these guys are more of a deterrent. Maybe I should have them in Navarre, actually. I don't want to, like, encourage a build-up, but I also don't want the Egyptians just to start something. Not that I think they would. They're probably very vulnerable here. All right. Yeah. We don't have any eligible bachelors just yet, but a couple more years. All right, there's Fernando. He's the only heir. And the Italians reappear. Okay. I don't know if they're going to make it at this point. They've got a couple of Italian emergences, rebels just still hanging around, so they may withdraw, though. They could go back to Sardinia. And they emerged on the mainland, too, so these rebel provinces joined them, 1, 2, 3, and then they emerged there. Yeah, that's about right, and here's a son. All right, Prince Fernando. let's go check out the son's name and also check out Fernando's stats. Not too bad, I guess. So our son is Gark. I think the game recycles names. So this is a new son, but Gark was also the next prince that I had in an earlier save when I was like before I reloaded at this point. I had Gark, who was King Sancho's brother. Now Gark is Sancho's son. So I guess what that means is the game draws the names from that list like in a particular order. So I bet if I were to go into the files and look for the name list for the Spanish, I would see like, you know, Sancho, Fernando, Gark, like that's the order, something like that. And I wonder if any other things are set up like that, like events likely to work in a certain way because of the ordering in the files. I'm not sure. All right, let's get another 5 assassins there. Let's get a merchant's guild. This building is making us 1,400. Okay. So now we've got the potential for some princesses to approach us. Let's see if we can see what the French look like. Okay, they did not keep Morocco, which is very interesting. And they also didn't keep all their bishops here. So maybe they were just using this as a moving point for some reason, but they moved him down from like all over the northeast. So where's the French king? He could be in Wales or Ireland. Oh, he's right there in Friesland. Okay. And we can't see what he's got, but let's move the emissary over. We'll see that next turn. What I want to do is just see, you know, if he's got heirs, how old he is. Things that will make it... things that would be nice to know if a princess approaches you. Because when that window is open, when they're offering you the marriage, you can't get out of it to check anything. All right, Tunisia, good. Antioch again, nice. Okay. Yes, the okay, send me a princess. The Italians were not able to have Corsica, but let's check out my bishop here. Yeah, he's not getting any valor for that, which is really a damn shame. 57%. He should be getting some benefit. If this were a watchtower or less, I'd move a spy in and here so I could start getting valor on my spies. But, you know, this is one we could move a spy into. This is one. The starting capitals are places that the AI tends not to build even watchtowers very often. Oh my gosh, like I could start just getting experience for these guys. Let's do it. What's that? All right, that's got border fort. That one does. All right, let's just start cranking out assassins even though they're not good. Because if these rebellions are happening anyway, that means that I could just start taking credit for them. Alright, so we'll bring some cardinals. Maybe I'll start swapping out some of these inquisitors for cardinals, but there's no good place to put an inquisitor. Like, the annoying thing, of course, is that those messages that you get. Alright, I guess we'll do, like... here. Like if I could just play through the whole game without ever getting those messages about the Inquisitions, that would be great. But if you want to use them, you got to live with them because they're going to be sitting in some province, bringing up the zeal gradually and then burning a bunch of the populace. I guess the way to avoid that might be to keep them moving, but that's such a hassle. Okay, interesting. The rebels attack. Yeah. Alright, that's my caravel. And we got a spy in Aquitaine telling us the French are going to attack, or the Egyptians are going to attack the French in the year after next. So that's awesome. I always love getting those. 63,000. What is driving, like, this, the numbers here? Is it just the sheer amount of Inquisitors? Is it their valor? The zeal is at 100%. That is insane. Let's try something. Let's bring them all into Leon, because that is a place where we can get crusades. So how quickly can we get the zeal here up to 100? Because I don't know that I've ever seen like 100% zeal. That is quite a lot. Okay, for you, let's do, yeah, ships. And let's go with a fortress. Let's do the fortress. Still no marriage offers, but it's less of a concern because the guy who is available right now is the brother of the king. And in a little while, you know, in about 16, 15 years, he's not going to be the heir apparent anymore. Nice. Turkish in Armenia. Daughter, okay. Making sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, so in, 12 years, Fernando's going to be down a peg, and Gark is going to be up there in red as the next in line. Alright, let's move you like... Now, Algeria has a border fort, so you can go to Cyrenacia. And then we'll just start sending them into Egypt and Sinai. And, we can't get anywhere up here because of border forts. Theoretically, we could eventually. But this crusade, it's going for Tripoli. There might be, some destruction happening here that will open up safe passage for spies. Alright, nice. We should get a little star on that guy. Alright, 49,500 victims in Leon. Alright, we're starting to catch some assassins. Good. Zeal here, 96. Alright. So if we were to send a crusade now, I almost think it's worth queuing up a crusade for some point in the future to try to take advantage of that. Right? That's 95. 96. Oh no, 58% loyalty. What the heck? Wow, what do we got going on? What do we have for an agent here? He's got 2 stars, so maybe they're sending spies. Very interesting. We'll keep our own counter espionage. We got to check that, because that would suck to lose. I was just thinking this. I was like, well, usually you don't want to sit around with a crusade marker, because if something happens and you lose the chapter house, you lose the crusade, and your king loses influence as though the crusade failed. And so that could be bad, because he's only got 2. He's only got 4 here. You'd lose 2. He'd be down to 2, and that would hurt loyalty, right? So, we have to be careful, but I think it's worth doing eventually. All right, for this, yeah, 2,000. So Portugal is incredibly wealthy for trade. I hadn't really looked at that, because again, I very rarely play on the Iberian Peninsula. When I do, usually it's a doomed Aragonese campaign, where I'm not trying to doom it, but usually it fails because, it's hard. As Aragon, I want a turtle. I keep forgetting to check the French king. He's still there in Friesland. Alright, so Cardinal was killed in Wales. So the French really don't like it when I get to Wales. I lose more agents there. Alright, nice. I gotta check that spy. Nope, send me a princess. Another son, nice. Okay, so what did I want to check? Okay, so the Turks spawned in Armenia, but these guys joined them, which is really cool to see. Greek-looking name there. Except for this guy. But yeah, otherwise we get Isaac Paleologus and Nicephorus Argyrus. And then Sulemish Chandarl. Okay. So the spy here, 0% loyalty in Tunisia. So I think he got both of those stars just there. We're going to send a 1-star spy into Egypt. And the other one, I think I'm a little paranoid here. Yeah, look at that. That was a spy for sure. I mean, I guess it could have been severe unhappiness. But okay, so this is also interesting to me. Castile still has 100% zeal, and so does Leon. My understanding was the way Inquisitors work is they're in a province, and they raise the zeal gradually. Then it gets to a point where they freak out and they burn a bunch of the populace, right? We've seen that throughout this campaign. My understanding was that represented kind of like the peak of the zeal, and that after that, the zeal would go down to like its floor, like whatever the lowest zeal could be for that province, which is possibly set somewhere in the files. That does not seem to be happening. Maybe next turn this will drop down to like 50 or something, but I want to keep my eye on it. But meanwhile, we know there's a spy, or there was a spy in Leon, or again, maybe it was the Inquisitors, right? Like maybe having so many Grand Inquisitors causing that kind of unrest, or that kind of Inquisition, maybe that actually does have an impact on public order. The game suggests that it does, or at least the game strategic guide. So there's something in there where they give a little story from the devs. This is before Viking Invasion was released, so it's only applying to like the base game. And it says that one of the devs did, or no, one of the AI did, I think. The AI French sent a bunch of bishops into the human players' Byzantine province. Made a bunch of converts, because the Byzantines, remember, are Orthodox, the French are Catholic. Made a bunch of converts, and then brought in an Inquisitor, and then an Inquisition occurred, and that caused a rebellion. That's the way the book framed that series of events, as though once you have enough Catholics in a province, an Inquisition like this thing can happen, and then that causes a rebellion. So let's look at where are you? I think it was Carpathia. Public order. So loyalty there, this is not like what I would expect if there was a massive rebellion. Now that said, he didn't kill that many people either. Maybe the fact that I've got like 10 of these guys here, and now loyalty is 136, so I really don't know if this is a spy or if this was Inquisition. But zeal is still 100. So that's something else to test. I don't think that's something to test right now necessarily in this campaign. We got a lot else going on. Yeah, let's go for the weapons. We're working on that. And here, we're just going to run out of stuff to upgrade at some point. This doesn't get us anything. Okay, so the Germans took Aragon. All right, I mean, I guess that's fine. It's a little annoying. Maybe we can, kill them and get the Aragonese to reappear. Let's do it. 24. I know he's got an heir, but whatever. We'll just try that. This is not about inheriting. This is just about maybe trying to get another faction on the map. No border forts there either, and I think those are the only provinces they own, and they're not at war with anybody, so they should still be sticking around for a little while. Yeah, that story in the strategy guide always made me think that Inquisitions, running rampant like all the ones we've seen, should have some effect on public order. But we got him. It's not something I've observed. It certainly has not been to the amount that would lead to a rebellion. Right, 66. We'll get rid of this heir. We could also try Inquisitors over here. And then we'll get him, or let the family die out. Okay, more spies. Yeah, we're going to put one over in Sinai. Okay. Oh, the Sicilians took Tunisia. Is that right? That is really cool. Ooh. So it's really interesting to see the Turks spreading out as well. They've held Rum, which is interesting. And they're holding Syria. So the fort that was here is now gone. That's so disappointing. You know, like... Actually... do I have a guy? Yeah, I've got a bishop. So there's nothing here. Literally nothing. So I don't know why the AI refuses to upgrade Syria. Sometimes, one theory... Oh, these are rebels. These are just rebels. Okay. One theory is that the AI does not upgrade provinces where there is a special unit, like a valor bonus on a unit. It'll only upgrade, like... up to the point where it can train that unit. That's 24. Let's just bring all these guys up in. And let's just assume that's going to be good. But with regard to Syria, they're not even upgrading it to the point where they can train anything at all. And there are 2 units that get valor bonuses in Syria. There's the assassins, which we've been focusing on, but then there's also, I think it's Nizaris, which Muslim factions can train, right? But maybe that's only a Turkish unit, and that's why the Egyptians haven't upgraded it, because they can't make that unit. Alright, I kind of thought that would fail, but whatever. Alright, so that was Sicily and Leon. Let's see what Leon looks like for public order. That's very high, 120. Zeal is still 95%. Okay. And in Sicily, loyalty's 200. I mean, there's a ton of people here. I do wish that some of these agents had a bigger effect. I mean, you could certainly argue that assassins are overpowered, but I would love it if spies were a little more overpowered than they are. They just have a very hard time accomplishing things. I would take an offer from her for marriage, even though... Well, okay, they don't have any heirs, so actually we can inherit from them, right? Huh. So I was under the impression that the Germans, you can't kill them by assassination because... And I forgot that just, 5 minutes ago, but the idea is that they would always have an heir. Right, we got him. But they get a new... Yeah, so they always elect somebody else. No. No, send me a daughter. So Ferdinand Gark, that's still it. But that's fine, that's plenty. And we've, yeah, Sancho's 41 now. Yeah, so we could spend all our time up here burning through all of these guys. And it wouldn't really matter. Yeah, 34. Let's just see, because it's going to tell us there's no one. But even though I didn't check for royal blood, I'm pretty sure that's not it. Yeah, I don't think any of those guys had royal blood. I mean, maybe they did, and I just missed it. But all right, and this is +2. Do we need to upgrade these, or do you only get 2 Valor Spies? Let's go here, because I'm curious to see if... I thought you could get 3 Valor Spies, but maybe that's just the Viking invasion. campaign. He's probably going to get killed in Tripoli, but whatever. In Viking Invasion, you can get, I thought it's like 3 Valor everything. But it's weird that they would make that available for that campaign, but not the bigger one. Not the, you know, the grand campaign in the medieval map. Okay, so Egypt is coming back from its problems in the Middle East. We got him. New emperor been elected. Yeah, so we could just do this all day. Yeah, our spy got caught. Okay, Leon. Yeah, 120. Public order is quite bad here. Let's get a nice, you know, I guess a 1 Valor spy. Oh, big civil war among the French. Good. So, yeah, you don't want to worry. You don't want to try to get marriages from the Germans because they're never going to get wiped out. The only thing is, I don't know if you could theoretically inherit on a civil war. Like, if you were to wipe out the royal family and they elect somebody new, is that ever going to result in a civil war? Or will a civil war ever allow you to inherit some of the territory from the loyalists? That would be cool, but I guess I'd have to say I doubt it at this point. So, wow, it looks like the French might lose Sicily. And they're going to lose a lot of Western Europe. Very, very good. Very interesting. So, did their crusade fail? That might be. Might be what did it. Oh, the Polish are at war with them too. So that they could have lost a king. Here's their current king. He's 24. 2 influence. So that looks like a lost crusade to me. I don't know that I've ever seen Poland look this strong. Alright, the Germans are going in. It's a little annoying. I'd prefer to have them off the map, honestly, if they're going to never allow me to inherit. Oof. So they have a crusade active. All right, no new goals really, but we're just by longevity. We are, you know, we're staying in the fight. All these factions, other factions have been eliminated except these, and the Byzantines, I think, just lost all their territory. They didn't get eliminated ever. All right, let's check our heirs. Fernando is 28 and unmarried, but Gark is 3 years away from showing up. Okay, Novgorod. That would have been cool if we could have gotten them. I saw they had a princess at the beginning of the episode here, but they didn't send her. All right, Marshall's Palace. I mean, I'm building stuff that I almost never build. All right. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I think there's no way that we can inherit from the Germans because I mean, I might just say yes, because Fernando is not going to be the main guy in a little while anyway. And it might be nice to theoretically have the extra heirs, but okay, so here's the other thing. Right, Fernando, in like 3 or 2 years, becomes a second heir. He becomes the spare. So his sons probably don't matter, because I probably will get my son Gark married. And so I don't care about my brother's family, right? So if I'm doing this, it's for the alliance. And I don't know that that matters. They've got 2 provinces. They may get more gradually. Let's say yes. Let's just say yes. Just on the odds. Okay. Now Portugal. Yep, we'll get the drinking den. And there's no other spy buildings available, so we are pretty much stuck with 2 Valor spies, it looks like. Unless we build this and it opens up the next tier, but I don't think it will. I think it would have told us that. Okay, now we're getting into the Crusade. You know, theoretically, let's say the Germans grow a little bit, and then the English or the Aragonese reemerge. And then they're at war with the Germans, or maybe the French end up at war. Look how the French are just wrecked, by the way. It is very interesting. So they send us a marriage offer, right? And then we get to decide who we want to ally with. Maybe that would be the case. Wow. So the French have been excommunicated as well. Okay, Gark has come of age. We got another daughter, and Gark is a chinless wonder. Seems about right at this point in the campaign. You know, we're not yet in the high or the late period, but that's only about 50 years away. And we've just been sitting here. Now I know it's random, the traits you're gonna get. Ooh, Manlic horse archers. Very interesting. It's just a wasteland over here. Alright, the papacy is rolling up Italy. Oh, cholera, that's horrible in Portugal. Son, great. Perfect. Yeah, so that plague, let's go to very low just to be sure. We're still making a lot of money. So our new son is Pedro. So after... Wait, where did Ferdinand come from? Gark? I guess I forgot to write Ferdinand. So he's another son of Sancho, and then Pedro. That's very nice. Feeling pretty good about that. 47 for Sancho the Third. So he's got some time. Let's go with that. And Valencia. We've got great assassins here. Maybe we'll go for gunpowder, just to give us some options. I think eventually you get some nice ships if you have like the cannon buildings. Just check our fleet. So I think everything's good here. We did lose one caravel in the Western Mediterranean, but that's a spare anyway. Let's do a bit of a mix there. So Gark, I should actually check the heirs list, but he should be the heir apparent now, rather than Fernando. All right. No, send me a daughter, especially now that you're weak. He's 28. Matthew, I almost never see that name. Oh my gosh. What's he looking like? No heirs. Oh, come on, give me a princess. They may not have any, but Those look like all bishops. Send me a princess. I've got this guy Gark. Where is he? Yeah, 18, Chinless Wonder, but he is the primary heir at the moment. Turks are still hanging on, though. Oh, nice. Okay, so the Swiss emerge. That is earlier than I expected because I thought they were a late era only faction. Now, this is very cool. Now, they get princesses too. I think, though, that they might work like the Germans in that they don't need heirs. But they're a fascinating faction because their bodyguard is this, Swiss Armored Pikemen. Every other faction on the map has cavalry for a bodyguard unit, but the Swiss get pikes. It's really cool. I wish they did that a little bit more. But, you know, anyway, it makes sense for them. I like it a lot. So hopefully they'll do really well. And I'd love to see the Burgundians, but I think they are very late, like 1320s, 1340s, something like that. So definitely in the late period for Burgundy. Okay, that's much better. What do you get? Yeah, caravels. Okay, we already got caravels coming out of here, so that's fine. Let's just work on trade a bit more. So we might not be able to inherit from the Swiss, but maybe we'll give it a shot. I would hate to eliminate them, though, so that's one where I might try it and then reload if it doesn't work. Good. Establish yourselves. All right, unrest in Toulouse. Nice. I mean, we are allied with the Germans now, so I guess it doesn't matter. They own it. They own it outright, I believe. All right. Moving into Burgundy, moving into Swabia. All right, that's a bark that could be ours. All right, Ferdinand has matured, and he should be above Fernando in the list. Yep. And then Prince Pedro is only 5, so that'll be quite a while. But yeah, that's our ship. We lost that up there. Fortunately, we got a bunch of these backup caravels for just this purpose. Get you up there, and the hole is plugged. So, very good. There's Ferdinand. He's a drinker. Fine. We need to wait for some princesses, I suppose, to come of age and start throwing themselves at my family tree. If that doesn't happen, you know, I guess we will maybe try a search. But I'll probably wait for our last son to mature, because we do have quite a lot of time here. We got a little bit of leeway. But this is probably a good point for us to hold the episode. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. And hopefully we'll get around to inheriting sometime. But we'll see you in the next one. Take care until then.